Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie and my sidekick Bob
Bob.
Walker.
You doing it?
He's my new admin and all. Hope everybody's doing fine tonight. Weather's been pretty nice here in Maryland as far as humidity and temperatures all this week.
Me,
And
I'm gonna share
what's
this
that?
out. I'm gonna share the stream out on my channel over here.
Oh, okay. Hey Randy.
And you see Pastor Larry there in the chat. Him and his wife stopped by today, and they
Oh
picked
yeah.
up a pack of Apis Biologics and left me one of their honey labels.
Ah, cool.
So it's pretty nice. We had a good little chat. They were probably ready to go. I was talking too much as normal.
Mhm. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I don't have to. I was looking at the other. I got to go ahead and pin the thing up and get that situated and all.
There's Randy. Randy came in back to back. Keith, Rodney,
Yeah, I see that.
Darren, DC was first. Darren was number 2. Hey, Kimberly, James. And yeah, it was kind of warm today and long work day today, and then it rained. And I thought, while Pastor Larry was here, I thought I was having a swarm. And they didn't swarm. They were all inside for the rain. And then as soon as the rain stopped, they did orientations and all landed on the front of the colony. Now that whole colony is bearding on the front. So it's kind of.
Let's see now. We got a copy.
What you trying to do? You want me to do it? Want me to do it for you, Charlie?
No, I got it now.
Oh, you got it now?
Takes me a while, but it didn't want to copyright for some reason. Now we got to get somebody to bump it up so I can do the double dots. There we go.
Oh, I can't pin it over there, but you can.
There you go. There we are. Anybody wants to come in, come on in. But now it's been pretty good here. I've been I looked in some of my mating boxes where I got laying queens, and the queens are doing well, and I've been feeding them some Pro Sweet. And actually today I put a half of a teaspoon of Hive Alive in there. See how that works for them. Along with some Apis Biologic.
So how you gonna know then?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You already know what the one does.
Did you get the email from Man Lake that I sent you?
Yeah, I got it. I got it. So if you don't know, you can either support the big conglomerate box chain, or you can support your local beekeeping website or store. Man Lake is carrying Apis Biologics, so I imagine it's going to go nationwide now. So I'm trying to figure out, right, as a distributor, as myself, and I've talked to Andrew, what's to stop them from selling it to every single one of their distributors, their dealers? You know what I mean? Even if it's in my state or my states, because all they have to say is, oh, they ordered it from the website and it's all good there. You know, so we'll see, you know.
Well, I'm going to hear, if I need it, I know where I'm going to get it. That's take care of the little man.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know.
Hey, Phil.
With any of it. And I mean, from what I understand, even the Man Lake dealers are upset with Man Lake, you know, so not having stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, I can tell you that. I mean, they're what would you say? Management is terrible right now of Man Lake. Terrible. They don't have anything. They don't have anything in stock. I don't know how it is up in Pennsylvania right now that at one of their warehouses there. The last time Lloyd went up there, the place was like a ghost town.
Right.
And, they got into beekeeping and they think that they were going to make more money with or not beekeeping, but chickens. And that store up there used to have all kinds of beekeeping supplies, beekeeping equipment, extractors and all that stuff. And all that stuff was just like swept out the front door. And they put all these chicken things in there, feeders and whatever else that goes with chickens. And, and I've known some folks that ordered chickens through them, and it was some of the sorriest bunch of chicken products, like chicken eggs or peeps and things like that.
Right.
It was terrible. The death rate was like 50% on that kind of stuff.
I saw something very interesting today. It's weird, even interesting. So you know how vines grow on trees right around here. It's especially, I don't know if they do it up there, but like
what is it?
Zoo and English moss and all of that grows up trees and everything.
Yeah, we don't have any of the moss or nothing like that.
So today I'm walking out to go see Pastor Larry there, and I look over and there's vines hanging down, but it's got muscadines growing from them. But I'm talking about muscadines growing from a 30-foot tall tree. There's just vines hanging down off the tree that's got fruit hanging on it. And
I don't even know what that is.
A muscadine?
Yeah.
You don't know what a muscadine is, Charlie.
I mean, and down there in the Carolinas and down in Florida, you got that Spanish moss is what we always called it. That white looking stuff.
I'll show you what a muscadine looks like.
Kate.
If I can show you a good picture of a muscadine.
It's the brown grape.
Yeah, we're on live, hon.
With brown spots on them.
She hears me going down the hallway, and they're this, and I know what they are. They can't see you telling me.
They're sweet.
So they look like this, Charlie. They're like a grape. We call them scuppernongs or muscadines down here. I guess I should have got a bigger. Hold on. Let's share this tab instead. They look like this thing.
Yeah.
Like a thick-skinned grape. But, out of nowhere. I haven't seen them here in 5 years, and all of a sudden they're actually dangling from the tree. So, and that's something that I would have to literally be in the back of my truck on the ladder to harvest. I mean, they're that high up. They're just dangling down. So,
is that a good bee nectar source?
I doubt it. It's good Bob nectar source. I like them. Mm-hmm. They're like grapes. They're big grapes.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
First time I've seen them. Probably what happened is a bird ate a muscadine and then pooped the seed over my yard, and then it just grew somehow. But yeah. All over the place, hanging down. Bob, Charlie, I'm selling my business. I saw you shot your hand with the nail gun.
Yeah, get on here, Jeremy. I know. I'll tell you, that's a bad wound. Anything but your hands.
Right through the fatty part too, right?
Yeah, but it hit a bone in there. I thought it was like I don't know, like right across through here somewheres.
And I got a good deal on frames finally. Not as far away. I still have to drive. But I'm getting wooden frames with Acorn black plastic foundation for less than it would cost me to get Premier shipped from South Dakota. Not much less, but a little bit less.
There he is. What in the world happened to you? And was that a nail gun?
Yes, sir. It was a framing nail gun, a battery powered one. I shot my hand from like a foot away.
I thought it has a safety on it.
The battery has like a quarter of a second delay. So I pushed it, and I guess I slipped on the corner, and it angled up, and my hand was holding a stud over here, and it shot it a foot into my hand.
I mean, I always thought they had that foot, that it has
It
to put
does.
your foot in.
Yeah, which I did, but it has like a quarter second delay. So I guess I picked it up. I pushed the button, picked it up, and just shot it into my left hand.
Well, good thing you didn't do something like, wow, why?
Right.
Is this thing load it,
Did y'all see my comment though?
You're selling your business?
Yeah, all of it.
Why?
I'm too busy. I'm too consumed with it right now. And like on the weekends, I get my oldest son every other weekend, and then on Saturdays I'm busy at the farmers market and have to work the bees. Then he's starting football, he starts playing on Saturdays. Our other babies due November, and then my 15-month-old is wild right now. And I could have. Mom was telling me just go down to like 10 colonies or something, so it's still a hobby. And my thing is, if I have 10, I'm still gonna want to do splits. I'm still gonna want to do whatever. And I'm about to have 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of cotton honey right now, and I don't have the time for it. It crystallizes too fast, and I have to sell it. And
I know nobody in Texas that's. Well, you're in the Texas Friendly Beekeeper group. Somebody in there would want to buy it from you.
Oh, I posted it yesterday, and within minutes I had people calling and stuff, and I had to tell everybody that I had bad service and that I was at work, and I had about 7 people offer what I was asking for the whole company, and someone offered 5,000 more than what I asked, so they'll be out here on Monday.
He's getting everything, buying it all.
My truck, my flatbed truck, and everything. Like I said, there's going to be at least 3,000 pounds of cotton honey that they're going to get to, and that alone will pretty much pay for it.
That's a big decision, Jeremy.
Yeah, but if you see, even my son right now is just chewing on a remote, and my wife
strapped the papoose on, put him in the little minion beekeeping suit, and let's roll.
Right, and then
counterweight for the beehive.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stay out of it. I literally need to take a 2-year break.
Well, you got a lot of family obligations there, and we understand that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's my main thing is when I only get my son every other weekend, and even when he's here, we have to be at the farmers market at 5 a.m. We're there until 11. Then by the time we come home, we're already tired. But then I go work bees. Same thing on Sunday. I mean, and then I only get him for those couple of days, and it's just I don't spend time with him like I should be. And my little son's going crazy right now, climbing on everything, and another one's due on 2 months. And the thing is, too, we've been telling people we plan on moving back to Alabama or Georgia come next year. And with that being said, I'd have to sell my stuff anyway, since Alabama, I can't import used equipment or bees on comb or anything. So
come to the east coast of Georgia, man. You'll be like an hour away from me if you're like in Augusta,
right?
That area. And then we can have the underground bee railroad where we can just move stuff from state to state that way.
Yeah, well, with that too, with that money, we're gonna do some upgrade our vehicles, stuff like that for the other kid we're expecting, because now we're gonna have to have 2 car seats, and we kind of want some with bucket seats where we could put a car seat on each side. The kids could walk in the middle to the back seat, and it's just it is honestly what I need right now. And if I was to keep a few, I would still want to do splits. I still want to do removals, and I'm passionate. I got tattoos of bee stuff, a bee on me. I mean, I live for beekeeping, but right now I have to make my family a priority right now. It's hard, but the best thing for me is to cut it off cold turkey.
Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I hate to see you, right in the middle of everything quit, but Um,
I'm not quitting. I'm improving.
well,
He's pausing.
yeah.
Pausing. No,
That's
yeah.
what I say when I quit smoking. I'm just pausing.
And the thing is too, like literally my son's room when he does come here, he's got 13 buckets of honey in there. I still got some in the garage, and the honey crystallizes fast here. There's going to be at least 4,000 pounds of 3,000 pounds at least of cotton honey, and that crystallizes really fast. And having to sell that and stuff, it's going to be a lot of work. Where I could just sell everything now, get a good chunk of money to.
Well, the thing of it is, you're telling us that you actually made 5 G's more than what you asked for, and that's yeah, it's a good opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Good opportunity.
Get that seed money back to start the next operation.
Yeah, and that's the plan. I mean, so I've already started beekeeping. I started over 3 times in the past 4 years. So it's very easy for me to be successful and to grow quickly. So I know how to do it. It's just I don't have the time right now. I can't keep doing moving bees in the middle of the week where I miss putting my son to. I don't even have dinner with my kids and stuff. I have to leave and right when I get home and go directly to move bees or what. And weekends are just beekeeping, selling honey, beekeeping.
I get the same thing here. Because I work all week. If I need to go get supplies or sugar or something, I'm gone all Saturday going to do that type of stuff. And
Hey, Dan.
They definitely give it to you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one thing you do know is when you get back in it, you're saying, hey, you might change a few things, as far as how you're going to work your situation,
Right.
Different truck, maybe a hive lifter or something, some sort of thing like that.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of a thing. But like you said, you were saying you're going back to Georgia, possibly. Is that pretty much a definite thing?
Yes.
So you can't bring all that stuff into the state. So,
and you'd have to have a whole nother truck to move it.
Right, and not just that, but bees are pretty aggressive out here compared to there.
Yeah, Todd says, Jeremy, try stopping stapling your hand.
Yeah,
you didn't staple it to a box or something on accident.
Man, it was crazy because I didn't even realize I shot myself in the hand. I thought I just missed, and I didn't think the gun fired. Then I looked to my left, and there it is.
That's Laura.
Usually it takes a minute.
Good
Usually
to
it
see
takes a minute for that pain. You're like, ow. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
I just felt pressure, and I felt bad because my wife was coming to take a nap, and I opened the door. I was just like, "Babe, I think I need to go to the doctor."
I think I need to dumbing it down.
And I said, I think I need to go to a doctor, and so she's thinking like I need to schedule an appointment or something. I was like, "Babe, I think I need to go to the doctor." So she walks out. She's like, "What do you mean?" I showed her my, that nail was sticking an inch out of my hand, and that's a 3 1/4 inch nail. And she was like, "Oh my God, get the kids ready."
And then there you go to the doctor's office.
Yes.
Did you have to get stitches or something?
No. Nothing.
Did it hit any?
They pulled it out with pliers, but they took an X-ray first to see if I hit anything important. Which I hit the middle bone, and it lodged into the middle bone, so it broke it on both sides. But they pretty much said it just has to heal itself. But
what about ligaments or tendons or anything like that?
Luckily, no? I didn't hit anything, and it didn't bleed a drop, and I had it in for over an hour. See, look, this is why I got to watch. He's gonna jump on me. Come on,
jump!
And that's him jumping from the coffee table to the kitchen, or to the sofa. So that's why
I pretty much think if it hit any of my hand, it hit something important.
Right.
You're like, they have to see if there's anything important. I'm like, it hit my hand. That's important enough.
Right.
Get it out of there.
Absolutely. That's, hands are our way of us doing things. And
right.
And it's the most important.
Even now, like putting on my shirt and stuff, I'm like, goodness, because I could move thank God I could move my fingers just fine. It's just, I can't grip really good or anything like that. And I gotta recover.
So what were you building when you shot yourself?
A shed for my wife in the backyard.
A she shed?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say I was putting together 10 frame deeps or something.
No. I use staples for that. But I was framing out the floor on the shed.
Well, there's other ways to get out of doing that than shooting yourself in the hand. You know that, right? Hey, babe, let's go to dinner.
Right.
Okay. Well, why didn't you get the shed done? Well, you remember we went to dinner the other night? That kind of cut it off early. And then Sunday we went to the zoo, and that kind of cut it off early that day. And she would appreciate it.
Right. But no, real quick, we're about to go get food and stuff. I just want to jump on here and let y'all know I haven't told many people. I told Tim from Penline Bees this morning. He texted me. I sent him some honey. So I texted him to let him know. I haven't told anybody besides like my immediate family.
And the 41 viewers.
Well, yes. Well, I was just going to jump on here real quick. I'm still going to have the bees for a few more weeks. People are coming here on Monday to look at it. They live an hour and a half away. And of course, they're going to leave the bees on the cotton fields. I'm sorry. It's crazy right now. So.
Well, I'm just glad that things
you're
are
all right.
that you're fine, and the other than having to heal your hand up, and you didn't really ruin anything, as far as bones.
Yeah, I was lucky.
Stuff like dexterity and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it didn't bleed at all. But once he pulled it out, like he gave me an injection to numb it, and that hurt worse. But he pulled it out.
And then putting in some germ killers and stuff like that too.
Right.
So, infection. Well, Jeremy, always stop in. I don't care if you don't have bees. You can always come in and visit and hang out with all of us.
Right. I'll probably
you still have a wealth of knowledge. That's what helps everybody.
I'm still gonna make a couple of videos. I still have the bees for a while. They're gonna leave them on the fields until cotton has another 3 weeks still. So once I get my order of equipment in, I still got to go throw them right onto the boxes right now to keep stacking. And like I said, I still love it. I'm still going to stay in it. It's just I have to force myself to stop right now.
Yeah, well,
if the price is right, they can come over here and pick all mine up too. Because I know where the store is to buy more stuff.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much about 600 per colony, which is pretty good average. And I really don't have much extra besides, empty nooks. And that's not no extractor. That's nothing. They get my flatbed truck that I bought for $2,000, and that was it. So I'm getting a heck of a deal. It's worth it for me. I could start all over easily. Like I said, I get removal calls all the time. If I wanted to, here's my thing. If I hustle and I want something, I'm going to do it. If I put my mind to it, I could do it easy. If I wanted to be at 120 right now, I'd be at 120. I just don't have the time, finances for equipment. And
how many are you at now?
A little over 50.
But still, you're just like me and you are at the same number of colonies, right? A little over 50.
Right.
So that's cool.
But we're about to go get dinner. I just want to jump on and tell you I'll keep in contact.
All right. Well, like I say, I'm glad things had worked out for you, where it wasn't quite as serious.
Yes, sir. Well, like I said, I'll still post videos of the cotton honey and the updates and stuff, and show people all that. So I have a few more videos to come out, but I'll keep in contact, especially now that I'm going to have free time. I could be an old man now and jump on this every Friday. Whenever I get free time to jump on some chat.
Friday night, Tuesday night.
Right.
All right. Every other night.
All right, Jeremy. Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Yes. All right, Jeremy.
Bye-bye.
That's the that's not bad, man. He made a decision and someone wanted to buy him out. So people buy businesses all the time and start new businesses and keep it going.
Well, the main thing is that his hand's not damaged as far as irreversible or anything like that.
Right.
And and all that. Yeah, Alex, I just want to say, hey, I didn't know whether you heard me or not, but yeah, I'm glad his hand's going to be fine. I know my brother, he caught his hand with, it was a piece of wood. It didn't really cut it with a saw blade or anything up, but the wood came flying back and hit him in the hand. And actually the impact cut one of his ligaments in there, or tendon, I guess you would call it tendon.
Right.
Had to get it sewed up.
Well, one of my friends, you remember back when the newspaper was big and people actually got them.
Yeah.
His mom used to run a couple of those routes. Well, they always had these leftover papers they had to take to recycling. And he had an old 70-something Plymouth Valari. Remember those? And it had it had the bumper jack, the old school bumper jack. And he was on the way to drop them papers off at recycling, and he got a flat tire. So he pulled off on the side of the road to change the tire, and he was using that bumper jack, and the car started to lean. And out of reflex, he grabbed that pole, and it popped out of the bumper and slammed his whole hand in the taillight. Yeah, and it sliced his fingers up and nerve damage and everything. So it actually kept him out of the military.
Yeah, that was, when I seen that on the Facebook with that nail sticking in there, that's what he said. It was 3 1/4 inch long nail and an inch hanging out. So it was over
2.5 inches in his hand.
2.5 inches in his hand. That's pretty bad. But I still don't understand how that gun.
Yeah, I always thought the thing had to be pushed in for the trigger.
Because I know some goofy carpenters, they were doing nail fights or whatever, where they would pull that trigger back so the thing would fire. Of course, it was an air gun.
Right.
It sounded like to me that the safety mechanism on that thing is not correct.
Bumper jack when cars had frames. Exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm trying to make a decision. If I jump in the car and drive 3 hours each way to get the frames and stuff, or if I actually work my colonies tomorrow.
And anyway, where did you find these frames at, or is it?
John Robertson from Hooper's Creek Bee Company, and he's just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And he called me he orders apis for his store from me. And so I said, well, I'm getting ready to probably order a pallet of frames from Premier. And he said, oh yeah, how do you feel about those Premier frames? And I said, well, honestly, I only have the one frame that I got at Hive Life. And, they pulled one side of it out. But to be honest with you, I don't see any difference between that frame and any of the other plastic frames that I had, foundation. He said, me neither. So he asked me how much they were going to sell them to me for. And I told him, he said, well, you know what? You buy them from me and I'll give them to you for the same thing. And I'm like, okay, I'd rather buy them from you because you're the small guy, right? I try to live by my own rules there. And if I can give business to a smaller company, I do. I would buy them locally if they were reasonably priced and they actually had them.
How far is Asheville from you?
3 hours.
So that's about
3 hour trip. Yeah.
200 and some miles.
Well, I don't know. When I searched it on the internet here, it said it is 2 hours and 42 minutes. It's 161 miles. That's what it's saying. It's just south of Asheville from here. So, yeah. But I mean, even the boxes I bought the other day is like, I can beat that price on boxes too. So, Premier would ship for what price? Premier. Well, first of all, let me undelusion people. First of all, that's as a wholesale price, right? So they would ship to me, and it would end up costing me an extra 50 cents a frame shipping. So if you think about it, when you're buying 4, 5, 800 frames, that's an extra $400 on there. So,
And where's this place at? Below Asheville?
it's in Arden.
Yeah, I see it. Yep.
So it is
That's-
a little bit away, but
You're right in the back, right in the same area where what's that guy's name? He's got a homesteading outfit. I forget what it was now.
but anyway, that's kind of the thought there. And I was thinking about doing that this weekend, but I know how my wife is when I go running off on Saturdays to do my bee things. She'd much rather me be here. But I'm going to have to make 2 trips soon. One to get sugar and one to get the other gear. I don't really need the frames right at this moment, but if he's got them, he said he's got them all in stock too. He's not a lightweight when it comes to keeping stuff in.
Yeah. How many frames you figure on buying?
Oh, at least 500. I got 40 boxes, right? So that's at least 40 or 400 boxes or 400 frames. So
40 box, yeah.
And I still have I probably got another 50 frames in the shed there, plastic ones.
DC's got new queens to play with.
When he said, so next Thursday, the queens will be there.
What's that?
He said next Thursday his summer solstice queens will be there. So that'll be fun. I've probably got a bunch of new queens out there because it seems like every day I go out, there's bees in one tree or another. This time of year, man, it's hard to keep them in the box. And it rained today, so probably tomorrow there'll be some in the trees I'll be fussing and fighting with. And half of me wants to make a few splits just to see if the queens take. Make a couple, 1 or 2, just to see if they get some queens this time of year.
Yeah, now Tim there, he's put out a good video about a homemade wax melter. Looking good there. I didn't, he was saying about wax melters being $400. I'm like, what? But I went on a license and he's right. Therefore, the big one is a $400 for one of them.
Mine was $200, 170 something bucks.
Yeah, between 200 and 400. But there's one there they called a big one, and it was like $400. I didn't think they made, or they cost that much.
I would build one.
Absolutely, that's what mine is. Mine's a homemade one, and I mean you can, a piece of glass or a piece of plexiglass, and just a box with insulation in it.
I'm surprised nobody said anything that I said I would build one. I'm not building nothing, but I'd probably build that for $400.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's nothing, right? I could take an old
box. Larry.
You could take an old box that is like or something like that, and you can just turn that into a solar wax melter.
I had a piece of glass that was out of like a storm door that was for the winter, it was a solid please. I guess it's about
the solid piece that slides in the bottom.
Mine didn't slide. You had to take the whole window out. And I'm like, I kept, the door was junk and I had it all replaced. I kept that glass because of that, but I never made, but I've been popping queen excluders in that one of mine. And like today, let's see, I think I cleaned, yesterday it rained. So, and it was cloudy, so it didn't do much yesterday. But by noontime today, that one screen was done. put another one in. It was done by 4:30 this afternoon when I went out there and checked it. And um, and it's been, taking the wax and most of the propolis right off of there. There's Brian. Oh, hey, Brian. Brian Bender there. He's one of our local beekeepers. He's going to Hive Life.
He's going to Hive Life or the Kentucky Fried?
Or Kentucky Fried.
Okay, Kentucky Fried Conference. I'm just,
Yeah, or Kentucky Kentucky Expo.
You know what though? The more I watch, the more people there. Let me hold on. We gotta have this this update. So Jamie Walters is speaking. That's one guy they've added. Rick Sutton. They got a meal deal. If you go there with your pass, you can go eat at the El Paso Mexican restaurant, Don Marco's Kitchen. 10% off with your lanyard. They got a guy named Curtis Simpson is going to be speaking. So they are Jeff Harris. They're adding a bunch of speakers on there. So I'm curious to see. This is getting real interesting on what's going on over there. So
yeah, it is.
I'm watching them both. Now we all know where I got my tickets to, right? So that's where my buddies are going to be at. So that's where I'm going to be at. However, I am pulling that it does continue to grow, and he didn't sell it.
What's that?
Was a corporate takeover. We'll say that way. That's basically what it was. But yeah, that's the
Well, did you see that latest video? I guess it was on Hive Life. It basically, he redid the whole thing about explaining why Cayman wasn't on that situation. It was more of a video.
Yeah, a little like short video thing without him in it.
Without him in it, and with all the different paperwork and things. I found that interesting. Well, yeah, and Brian is, he's got their National Honeybee or North American Honeybee. I just call it the Kentucky Expo.
Kentucky Fried Conference, KFC for short. We like them extra tasty, crispy around here. So but honestly, as far as for beekeepers, if both conferences are successful, then it's a win for beekeepers, as far as I'm concerned, and beekeeping.
Yeah, if they can have it off of 2 different dates.
Yeah, if they spread it out a little bit, they could both win. But I don't think that's necessarily in the cards. But, as far as anybody giving ground a little bit to change dates or something, but he libeled himself in that video as well. Well, possibly. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. All I saw was statements backed up with facts. That's all I saw. Or I won't say facts because we don't know them to be facts. We know them to be evidence. Statements followed by evidence. That's all I can say with that. I don't know if it's fact or not. But hopefully, it works out for them all. Charlie, I was out of town and lost power for a day and a half. My last round of queen cells in the incubator, they got down to 85. I think they will make it.
I think so. Depends on how far along they are. How many days are they? Are you going to hatch them?
I think the humidity plays more in it than maybe the temperature.
Yeah, because I talked to Mickey down there, and I said, "What about humidity?" He said, "Well, humidity, I think, speeds it up more, as far as make them hatch more."
I think it keeps the cells softer, probably.
Is that what it is?
I think. I don't know. I'm speculating here, Charlie. You know that. That's what I do. I'm a speculator.
I just, you know, if you're going to keep them in the incubator and put them in cages to see if they're going to hatch out in the cages, let them, you know, that way you can just walk them on in. As far as the two different commerces, I hope both of them make it. You know, I'm like Bob. I actually liked Sevierville. I like the idea of the other things that you can do. You can drive there. It's a little closer to home for me, a little easier to get there. And you got a lot of choices in restaurants and things.
Right.
And most of the stuff is open. And then you have like the national park that you can go as long as it ain't snowing. And usually down there, this year I was down there in January. It was on, I think, a Wednesday, and it was 70 degrees.
Yeah,
Now here
nice
it was 70 degrees down there, and it was like probably about 40 degrees up here at the home. And so it's, you know, my concern is whether we're going to have snow in Kentucky. And then for me to get out there, the most direct route is right through the mountains of West Virginia. Well, that's not the best way to go as far as that time of year. And or I have to go up and around through Ohio and all that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. I really like that area of the United States. Again, it's only 4.5 hours away from me for that. So yeah, it was, you know, closer for me. I like the area. So that was the disheartening part. You know, as far as the way, I'm kind of mixed feelings. I understand what DC's saying there about not airing dirty laundry and stuff, but one person has a full audience to talk to and to explain their side if they choose to. The other side doesn't have that audience, right? Half the people follow Cayman because he's Cayman. It doesn't matter what he did or what he said or what he didn't do or whatever. I don't know the facts, but because it's Cayman and we see Cayman and we relate to Cayman, we tend to side with Cayman. Even though we don't know the other guy has no way to voice what's really going on. And if he wants to save the conference that he's going to have a bunch of money having to go out for a place on, then he's got to do something. I mean, it wasn't the right thing. I don't know, but it was something, you know, had to make some kind of statement, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know, as I could say, the Kentucky Expo up in Louisville, it's going to be bigger and more people, and which is really neat. You know, I mean, as far as a trade show, it's going to be, you know, I'm going to say probably a third bigger in the trade show area. Like you were saying, Bob, about the speakers are all YouTubers. Pretty much we've seen them all, you know, either in person or we've seen them on YouTube. And that's pretty much what they're going to talk about is any of the topics they've already covered, most likely.
Right now, there's one person that's speaking that I haven't seen in person, and that's Lawrence from Black Mountain Honey. I think everybody else that's there, I've either seen their YouTube presentation or I've seen their presentation or I've talked to them on the phone or on a live stream or something like that, you know? So,
well, I have not seen, actually, I did see Corey Stevens walking around last year, but he wasn't speaking or anything, but he's talking on subjects that a little bit beyond me for what I'm going to do as far as, you know, high-end queen rearing and stuff. But, I don't know. I went down to Knoxville back in 2019, I think it was before COVID, the year before COVID, and had a good time. It was a very small, what would you say, venue. It was called the Honey Show. And we had Kent Williams. He was teaching queen rearing. That's where I learned how to queen rear. But the thing of it was, the class was only 20 some people. And you could really, you know, and it was in March where it was warm enough in that location compared to my hometown where they actually brought in live bees and they brought in the brood frames in the class, and we actually grafted live brood out of the frames, and that was to me a really a good experience and a good learning experience for sure. And they had several other different speakers, some local speakers, some other, beekeepers have wrote some different books and stuff like that over the years, speaking, and I enjoyed it. It was something different, and I kind of like those smaller venues where if it's, especially if it's classroom type stuff, if the classrooms are more intimate, small, you can learn better. You can actually converse back and forth with the instructor. Whereas at the other, like at Kentucky Expo or in the past years of Hive Life, I mean, the rooms are massive and there's what, 500 people in a room,
Right.
and they're doing a presentation about whatever they, have done before. And, it has its drawbacks when it gets to that big of a venue type of thing. But I was like thinking about what you were saying about the speakers and stuff here, and I'm like, okay, the trade show is really going to be what's bigger and better out of this next conference, like and all. Hey, thank you, Lee, and all. But
Look at Lee slinging the cash around.
yeah, yeah, we appreciate that. Help pay for the live streams.
Speaking of which, paying. I bought that Filmora, but I paid for the whole thing up front. But yet now I'm still getting a monthly charge from them. I wonder if I got to contact them somehow. I didn't buy it.
That wasn't where you bought. You got the newest version or whatever it was?
Yeah, I don't know if it was like
12. I think I'll say Filmora 12.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an add-on pack or something that they.
Yeah, I remember reading about it, some type of add-on pack, but
yeah, I gotta get. They're charging me $20 a month, $240 a year. We don't want to do that.
no. They want me to upgrade. I'm like, I don't need to upgrade. Your product works just fine for what little bit I use it. I don't use all that fancy stuff that they want to talk about and all. But I hope your back's feeling better, Lee. Leg and all that. I know we had talked this past week and things were a little bit better, but still happen to use that TENS unit and stuff. I will have to say my stuff is, since I've been going back to the gym and working on the ligament leg and stuff like that, it's doing better. And what's really nice is that I finally, hey, there's Jason. It's happening. I finally there's some medication that what do you call it? The insurance company said no, they weren't going to pay for it. And hey, Minnesota Mike. Yeah, I watched your video today about your scoring in boxes and everything. Making basically a propolis envelope within the box.
They gave me effects and plugins. They said that's what I had to cancel. Not using the products often enough. There you go. Continue. No, I'm not pausing.
What is it? Some plug-in?
Yeah. Confirm there.
Darren wants to know whether you and Lee are going to put a podcast on it at the expo.
Well, we did last year, and he's got enough cameras to broadcast the Super Bowl. So we should be. That's the plan.
That's cool.
And they fixed my internet. If you haven't noticed, I haven't paused up yet.
Yeah, a little bit, not much.
I shouldn't have paused up at all. I'm getting like 951 gigawatts of download. Let me see what I got right now. Probably not much streaming and everything. Yeah, we're still doing good. Even streaming, I'm getting over 500 megabits a second. Let's see, 599 download, and it's like around 32 something on the upload. Maybe more. Let's see. Keep going. 30 megabits upload, 599 download. So let me
Right.
see. What I missed? Dry Cut did something. Fourth child. Congratulations.
What do you do?
Dry Cut had his fourth baby today. Oh, look at that. Hope said I contacted United Solutions, which made the 5-gallon buckets that ruptured, and they are reimbursing me for the honey I lost plus some extra and sending replacement buckets. Very impressed with them. Did they give you $10 a pound for the honey? $600 a bucket. That's what...
Who did that? What buckets?
It was United Solutions. Where'd you get those at, Hope? Tractor Supply or somewhere? All right, so they'll stop charging me that extra money now. Let me see. Uriah is his name. My wife is doing good. Awesome. That's awesome stuff. There was a band. Remember them, Uriah Heep, back in the 70s?
Nah.
Really, Charlie?
Nah.
You don't remember? Oh, it was for what I lost, $20 per pound. Got them at Lowe's. Okay. Lowe's buckets.
So you got 20 pounds, $20 a pound for honey?
For the stuff he lost, he got $20 a pound. That's pain and suffering right there. That's what I'm talking about.
That's good money.
Yeah, man. That's $1,200 a bucket. I need to sabotage me some Lowe's buckets. So what you got planned for this weekend? I know you work tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, I work in the morning. I don't know. My son, he cut hay this morning. I don't know whether I'm going to have to work Sunday afternoon or what. I hope not, but.
See, Darren remembers Uriah Heep. Minnesota Mike remembers Uriah Heep. You're the only one.
Well, I'm not. I never was. If it wasn't country or bluegrass, I don't know much about it.
They mentioned his time and the mess it made. Yeah, 60 pounds of honey all over the floor, that would make a big mess. I talked to old Johnny Walker today. Maybe he'll be coming on soon on a stream near you.
No, you could come on this one if you wanted to.
Charlie, how strong was your storm the other night?
I guess, what was that? That was a Monday night, I think. We didn't lose any electricity, but I lost a landline and my internet service. I was it was out until like about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. And what was kind of interesting about it was that they kept saying, well, the lightning won't come in on this FiOS cable where it's light wire and all that. But yet, we lost it all because of the storm.
The guy came to my house yesterday for the internet problem, and he went to the road and he replaced every connection from the road to my house and on the inside. He said some of that stuff was so old where the technicians that would come if we had upgrade or something, that they would just, instead of replacing that, whatever, they probably pay a nickel for them, the fittings, that they just would keep screwing the other ones in. They had one of the splitters was a 1 in and 3 out. That was like from one time my mom had DirecTV like 12 years ago, and it was still in there.
And then Mike, I presume you're talking about that other storm that we had. I guess that was the storm. Yeah, that was Tuesday night. Now, 2 counties over in Carroll County, it was so strong over there. It was like 80-mile-an-hour winds, and it took down 30 electric poles in a row, all the way down the side of the highway. Now, this highway is a 4-lane divided highway. And it's right in the middle of this town where all your major shopping center complexes are, alongside this main highway. Of course, it's also the main highway directly to Baltimore for all your commuters. And it tore that place up over there. And they're still out of electricity. It'll be probably a week before they get all that. They've been working around the clock, as far as I know, on the news. And then there's been a lot of trees around here that was knocked down and different things like that. But and all that stuff. Now, Jason, he's got what? I currently have a 2-frame electric extractor. I'm debating on buying an electric licensed 12-frame extractor.
Hey, you can contact James. He'll probably sell you one cheap. James has got a licensed 12-frame, and he's doing thousands of pounds of honey with it.
I'd buy the license over to Sivan.
Sivan's got the plastic on the inside, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think that license is a better made piece of equipment. Personally, I'd buy the 20-frame and be done with it.
Yeah, I saw that fractal burn hive bodies he was doing.
I keep about 12 production colonies. Any advice? Yeah, that's the same amount of hives I have, is 12 honey production hives. Get a 20-frame license. I don't know. What's that? Look that up, Bob. Look, what's a 12-framer go for? Probably ain't much more than getting a 20-frame. 20-frame is about $1,300. Actually, it's a little lighter than $1,300.
Better be. Honey harvesting, license processing.
Yeah, honeybee compound. My niece lives in Palm Grove, and my refrigerator and freezer right now are full of all her food and stuff. I don't know what the problem is up there about not getting electricity back. And then also my sales contact for Man and Parker Lumber Company up in
the 20 frame license, $1,284.
Yeah, but how much is a 12-framer? I don't know if do you make a 12-frame?
There's a 12 frame here that is $939.
$900.
So for 300 extra bucks.
Yeah, get the 20-frame. I'm sure that you're doing 12 frames and you're going to do at least 25, 30 boxes of honey.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up Savannah.
Yeah, but like say, honeybee compound. Yeah, there's a lot of electric out up in Pennsylvania. And the guy that, this is a big lumber company up there that they've been out.
Well, that's weird. I looked it up and it honey harvesting equipment. I was looking at Happy Acres Bee Supply for a sieve, and they had it said 12/24/ something on the extractor, but it says 12/24/24. I guess that's 12 deep, 24 median. Well, I don't know that much about the Sievin product, but
I seen them at Hive Life this January, and I don't know.
I like the Lyson because the motor is on the bottom.
Yeah. But I got 12 hives. I've got a Man Lake that I bought, I don't know how many years ago. It's an 18 framer. And I'll say the Lyson is built much heavier. Bob can tell you got that red band around there is heavy duty steel. And you got heavy duty steel legs. And it does have a V belt in the bottom end of it, right?
A what?
A V belt. V is in Victor belt.
Yeah, V belt. Yeah, you talking about belt driven? It's belt driven. Yeah,
it's belt driven. Where mine's direct, but most of them are, But
so it looks like I'm looking at Midnight Bee Supply. Their Sivan, it says 3/12/12. I guess that's 3 deeps, 12 shallows, 12 mediums, maybe.
Yeah, probably
$1,250 for a Sivan.
Yeah. Now, Jason, Brian Bender there, he's got a Max Ant. Took him 6 months to ship to get that. He's got a 20 frame.
I don't know. I like my Lyson, so I'm kind of biased to Lyson, I guess. Just like people that get Max Ants are biased to Max Ants. It's just what you like, I guess. But for the same price, if there's the same price, I'm going Lyson myself. Just because that's my preference.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Tim and Hannah.
Who dat?
What do you say, Charlie? Bob?
Hey,
Everybody?
How's it going?
hey, y'all.
What's going on?
Man, trying not to melt. Who?
Yeah.
Don't you have AC?
It don't
Yeah.
matter down here.
Huh?
The AC
It really
sweating.
doesn't make a difference.
Yes,
Exactly.
that AC been going and going.
And all it does is make that electric bill go up.
Yeah,
Yes.
big time.
Jasper, don't start. My bad, y'all. But how's everybody doing?
Oh, not too bad. How are you doing, Hannah? How's your situation? Have they figured out what's going on with you? Why you're in pain?
They said it's a high
Married to
heart
Tim.
rate.
What? It's self-explanatory.
That's just where all the gray hairs are coming from. But yeah, it's getting better. A little bit at a time, but it's getting better.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess they're whatever they do for that. I don't know, but hopefully,
They put me on a whole bunch of medicine, and I go back, I think the 25th, I think, and they're gonna, I guess, do another scan and check it and see. Like I'm eating about as much as like a 3-year-old can eat at a time right now, which is an improvement, but I'm nowhere near back to normal. So
right.
I don't know what they're gonna try to do, but hopefully it just keeps getting better and we don't have to do anything else. That would be ideal. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
So is that where it won't let the food go into your stomach It's like where the closure there, top of your stomach is the problem there.
Or is
Yeah.
it the throat?
No, it's way down low. It's like right at the top of my stomach.
Yeah,
But
there's a sphincter there that closes and keeps the acid and all that kind of stuff from coming up out of your stomach and all. And
yeah,
yeah, my niece, when she was a baby, she would throw up, and they had to go in there and operate on her and do something. I don't know what it was, but that's been a long time ago.
a lot of them do end in surgery, but I really would rather not go that route.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been probably 25 years ago or more.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've come up with some different ways of doing things, in the medical field.
I
and
hope so.
everything.
That's what I'm banking on.
We got a brother in church that had just went through that same ordeal,
But he
Yeah.
had to have surgery.
and they talked about going in, and man, they had to, I guess, kind of way he explained it, lasso that hernia, pull it down, then they stitch that thing somewhere to the inside of his, I'm assuming to the top of his stomach or something right in there. And he'd been dealing with it for probably about 4 weeks before Hannah started having her problems. But I talked to him last night, and he'd finally gotten to where he's able to actually eat a good meal. He said, man, I sweated my tail off, but brother, I went straight to that barbecue grill and started cooking. So undoubtedly it takes a while for you to recover from them things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, any surgery, it's, a long time for you to repair.
I have learned one thing through this ordeal, though. I could never, ever, I'd never make it as a willing vegetarian. Like, it just would not happen. There's a lady at our church on standby to make me a meatloaf as soon as I can eat real food again. Like, this liquid and soft food is like, I'm done with it. I'm so done.
Well, what about like a burrito? I think it's a burrito. It's that real fine ground meat, that they put. Is that what it is? That's what. Isn't that a burrito, Bob?
Talking about like Taco Bell type.
Well,
burrito?
yeah, but it's real fine.
You think
Yeah.
she's got stomach problems now? You can give her some Taco Bell and see what happens.
I'm not saying go there. I'm thinking about taking ground beef, and cooking it up, and then get it to where it's a nice sauce, something that's not spicy, and where you could eat it where at least you get some meat taste in your mouth, and
A beef stew or something.
About the closest I've had is the broth off of like chicken noodle soup or something.
yeah.
Refried beans, Bohemians.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna pass on that.
More veggies. Let me
Mm.
see.
Yeah, they even told me not to eat like I can't eat fresh vegetables or anything. They say it's too hard to digest. Like I couldn't even go get a salad or something. Like, I don't know.
About the only thing.
Baby food?
Hmm.
Baby food?
No, like the little kid cups of macaroni and cheese or mashed potatoes, things like that. Chicken noodle soup. Like I'll probably never touch chicken noodle soup again when I get over this.
Charlie, you're making her hungry. That's what Honeybee tells us.
I've been hungry since this started. Literally.
I know she don't mean nothing or anything, but she knows when I start getting what they call that, hangry, and she'll tell me,
I've been
look, just
hungry for 6 weeks now.
stop and get you something to eat. And I'm trying to kind of hold off to where I'm not eating in front of her type thing. But as soon as I go to get something, she's like, that just smells so good. And buddy, she
I'm
gets,
locked in the truck while he's got a double bacon cheeseburger and a large
The
fry.
Baconator from Hardee's there.
And I can't eat any of it. Like, it's
That's
torture.
mean. You're just mean, Tim.
It's been pathetic, and then we did a huge meal at church Sunday, so I cooked for it, helped serve it, sat down with everybody else while they got to eat it.
She did get some dumplings down.
I
She wasn't able to eat the
did,
chicken,
yeah.
but she was able to get her some dumplings
Homemade
out of it.
chicken and dumplings, but I did get some of those in me. So.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. I'm gonna gain like 40 pounds when I can finally eat again, because I'm not gonna quit eating for a while.
No, what'll happen is the first time you can eat, you're gonna probably make yourself sick eating too fast.
Probably.
Mm.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's
I mean, the
been-
thing of it is, you can't even. It sounds like to me you can't even grind it down to, let's say, like a chicken and dumplings. Yeah, you can't even get it real fine in order to get it to go through your system, or into your stomach, I guess.
It just, I don't know. The only thing I can get down that doesn't really hurt is just liquid, like broth liquid.
Just make a cheeseburger slushy.
There you
Oh
go.
God, yeah, that sounds appetizing.
Put the whole thing in the blender and put it on liquefy. Remember the button on the old blenders that said liquefy?
Yeah,
We got one of them contraptions
puree.
that'll
Puree.
weigh that baby up. That's what I'll do.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'll go get her a hamburger and shove that puppy down in there.
I like Shane's idea. Take the lady out for a lobster dinner.
Either lobster, or she done made mention several times, there's a catfish house right across the state line in Mississippi.
That's it.
And that's usually our little honey hole over there every Thursday or Friday. And she has said, as soon as I can get to eating, we are going to the catfish house.
Yes. I got a list. Go the catfish house, the barbecue place, the
You're gonna be eating
meatloaf.
out every night for a week.
Hey, we'll take her, brother. As soon as she gets where we can go eat, we'll load up and go. Which I ain't gonna argue with that catfish house. I love it myself. But thank y'all everybody for asking and checking on her and the
We
prayers and
appreciate
everything.
the prayers.
Yeah, I know Lynn. She's asking about you. And
Peanut butter and honey, Mark says.
I've done that.
I don't know whether you could actually eat that either. I'm not sure.
I haven't tried it on this bout. I mean, it's good. I've had it before several
Well,
times.
it'd be just as good as peanut butter and syrup. Now, I like some peanut butter and syrup. Don't see why it'd be any.
We grew
Probably
up
better
on
than that.
peanut butter and honey sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Bananas and mayonnaise sandwich. You ever heard that?
Yes, sir.
A what?
Banana and mayonnaise.
Oh, my grandma eats them things. Her pineapple and mayonnaise. She'll
I
make
haven't
a
had pineapple and mayonnaise,
Mm.
but bananas and mayonnaise I've had. Peanut butter and pickles, I've had that.
Ooh, no, y'all lost me on that.
You ain't had you don't like pickles?
No, sir. I'll
Oh,
fling them babies
I
down the
love
road.
pickles, but not with peanut butter.
Mm-mm.
Have you tried it before? You haven't tried it. Don't shoot it down. You'll
I
probably
just-
be surprised.
Now, as a kid, I
do
loved
celery
them,
and peanut butter.
but I don't want them as an adult now. I'll fling them babies out the window at 60 miles an hour. Let them see, let them sea
Sea
chickens get them.
They don't know what a
Mm.
sea chicken is.
Sorry, seagulls. I call them sea chickens down here.
Because you see them at the Walmart, all in the parking lot.
You know, when I was in the Navy, we'd be hundreds of miles out in the middle of the ocean. And the only birds you would see out there would be seagulls. It's like there's no land. So it's like they're just out there chilling, cruising. I'm like,
Well, they can land on the ocean, I guess, on the water. Hey, James McNally, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Tom, you're in late
Hey,
tonight.
I was going to tell y'all too. I guess I could hold off. Well, James and Bob and Brad, Canada Brad, when we got off the other night on our live, I was trying to push buttons, but they would not work on the, what do you call it, the back screen or wherever as soon as you cut the live off.
Oh, okay. The
Everybody-
green room.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could not get it to unmute to save my life. And I'm sitting there trying to smash that thing, and it just wouldn't work. And finally, I turned it off. I was like, I give up. I hope they're not mad, but I'm done.
No, we stayed in there, and it's funny. Everybody, as they fell out of the back room, they couldn't get back in. So one by one, people would. Alex was in there. He dropped out accidentally, and he couldn't get back in. And Brian, I think, came on for half a second, and he couldn't get back in. So it ended up being just, I think, me and Brad at the very end. And it was like, well, I guess everybody's gone. We'll just, I'll talk to you later. And then we were gone.
Hey,
I
Todd.
wasn't being a thorn in the side. I was trying to get things to work, but my apologies, gentlemen.
It's all good. We know where you got your nickname buttons.
Ain't that the truth?
Is that not like the most fitting nickname you've ever come across?
Just clicking the buttons.
Oh, he's terrible about it.
Well, Charlie, how's the beekeeping world up yonder way?
Oh, pretty good. The biggest thing we've had is a lot of storms and stuff, and luckily for me in my area, the worst of them storms have kind of went around me, and a couple counties over, they had just one town. It's got we were talking about earlier, it's got a 4-lane highway through it, and it had 80-mile-an-hour winds, and it knocked over 30 telephone poles that had all in a line. They had somebody had their phone camera out, and it showed them all just blowing over, and that we had buttoned down the hatches around here, and I had chained the doors down and stuff like that just in case, and it went around us. And the only thing that happened here was I lost the internet service and the one phone line. It took them about a day or so to get that back up and running. And then Pennsylvania, right, which is only about 20 or 30 minutes north of us, the line, there's a lot of towns and stuff without any electricity up there. My niece in one of the towns, hasn't got electric back yet. And we got her stuff out of her freezer and refrigerator and our stuff. But kind of severe type storms and stuff, but around here it's not been bad. It's just been raining and things are growing, and the bees in general here are doing well. Some of them are, they're hot. Some of them are hanging out on the front porch and on the side of the hive, but so it just it's doing all right. I've had some queenless hives, and some of them went land worker, and I shook the darn bees out into the grass and that kind of stuff and gotten rid of those hives. But I had some backup queens that I've been raising. I got some videos I'm gonna put out on that, and trying to get them built up for the winter. And
that would be cold, Lynn. That'd be in my
Lynn, we had talked about it. We had our club picnic Wednesday night, and Lynn was there, and she got 2 full silver. It ain't capped, but it's 117 and 116%. Pull it and extract it. You get below 16%, then that stuff doesn't want to come out of the comb. It's hard to get it to come out. And Jason's talking about that. Yeah, the rain has helped to keep the clover flow, hanging on. Which I'm going to do stuff with some of the things I'm going to do tomorrow. It's been 3 weeks since I've been into my hives that are right behind me there, where I put aprivar strips in, and I want to check the resources as far as any nectar and see whether there's much of a nectar flow. The spotted lanternfly definitely is not as predominant like it was last year. Last year, I think it was the first time they were in the area, and they pretty much the bees filled a super of honeydew honey off these spider lanternfly bugs, these moth-looking things.
Honey poo, honey.
Yeah, poo-poo honey. I let them in it, saved me about 500 pounds of sugar that I didn't have to buy. So I'm going to check the hives, make sure they got some nectar resources in there to keep them up and running real well. I don't want them to starve or shut down right now.
Ain't
And
those some type of invasive little critter?
they are invasive. They came in on a bunch of rocks from China. Where else, And they started out up in northern Pennsylvania, and they've migrated down into Maryland. And then I was talking to Brian Cooper from Castle Hives. They say they're out in Ohio now. So seems like the leading edge of them, that's the year that you have a lot of them. And then after that, I think the weather, the winter weather takes care of a lot of them, kills them off, which is good. They're destructive when it comes to, if you have a vineyard, it just will destroy the grape crop and everything.
Yeah. I don't think. You're talking about in. I see Brian C's comment there. Is that at the Hivarama or whatever they're calling it that he's at this weekend? Because I know where he's staying for the Kentucky Fried Expo, Kentucky Fried Conference out there.
He says Louisville, Kentucky.
That's not what he told me. Maybe he lied to me. Get me to stay at another hotel for him. Last year we stayed at the same hotel. I don't know. I might try to see if we can get a block of rooms, and for people that are going that want to, they might. Sometimes they'll give you a discount if you get a block.
Yeah. Hey, Minnesota Mike. No, we don't actually have a generator for our mill. We actually have direct 3-phase power coming in off the main lines and all. Actually, that's been in since day one, more or less. People asked us, how long you been in our area, and then we tell them, well, we were here before electricity, literally. And then your cable companies like today and all, they'll come to your house, when they're trying to bring cable in your area, and they'll ask you, would you be interested in signing up for cable TV or whatever? Well, that's what they did back then. They said, we're bringing electricity, and would you be interested in buying electricity or hooking up to the electric lines? And they did, and that they put commercial electric in for us. And we actually had a magazine, or I'll say it was like a quarterly newspaper that the power company put out. We had a copy of it here. It says modern sawmill uses electric motors, and this is going from gas tractors and probably steam at the time into electricity, the age of electricity. And
Charlie was the newspaper boy that was holding it up, selling it on the corner.
Nah, we weren't never in the city.
People.
I like poking fun at Charlie. He takes it so well.
Yeah, you're talking about Hivarama. That's where I think the rooster is going to be.
Yeah, he's there now. So that's probably where he's staying at.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
That's when Charlie got rid of his telegraph.
That's when Charlie got rid of the telegraph line.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it out loud.
That's funny.
Well, y'all gearing up for your fall run, or?
I've seen some goldenrod in the area, but I haven't seen any really near my place yet. So
no, I haven't seen anything here when it comes to goldenrod. And really, I know some of our club members live in another county, and they'll talk about a goldenrod flow, and I'm like, I don't get that. we'll get goldenrod, and the bees will go after the pollen, and there might be a small nectar flow, enough, to kind of keep them happy from pestering the local swim club that usually the bee inspector calls me and says, they got bees at the club, are you feeding? And I'm like, or then she'll text me, it's like, oh, thanks for feeding. And I'm like, well, the goldenrod bloom. That's why they're not over there. They got something to do.
Tell them to quit throwing the soda cans in the trash can.
That's where it's over in the dumpster over there.
So that's why I kind of, obviously we don't want to adulterate our honey, right? But then I'm like less than a mile away from the high school, right? Those kids are drinking soda all day, every day, and throwing it in the trash can outside, right? So bees are like sipping on Pepsi-Cola and Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew down there, coming back here and making Mountain Dew honey instead of spotted lanternfly dew honey.
Yeah, now see, Tomer's talking about the same thing. Usually it's dry. You don't get much of a fall flow. But he said this year it's a lot of rain.
I'm really hoping we have a little bit. We got, y'all, there's some of it right down the road. We've mentioned a few times that at the widow woman's house, and it's 6.5 feet, probably 7 feet tall out in her field.
It's a ton of goldenrod.
Now, it hadn't started blooming yet, but
Right.
I think it was Mark Miller, I think he mentioned a while ago about the white clover. Now, it pretty well died off for the most part around here. Early summer, midsummer, I guess. It kind of, you wasn't seeing it much no more, but we was up there working at her house today at the widow woman and looking out in her yard and her field, and that white clover's popping right on back up again. So I'm hoping
it'll regenerate for sure. Now Shane's up there in Canada. Now that's interesting. It's like Bob says, they're north, but their season's ending up there before our season ends. And
starts later and ends sooner, and they make more honey.
Yeah.
It's just more concentrated. The Tim and Hannah, have you ever seen muscadines growing off of a tree? I've never seen it. The vines just hanging down from the tree, and they got muscadines all over it.
now. Well, yeah, we got a couple that's here in the yard, and brother, the vine on that joker is probably circumference on it is, I'm gonna say about 3.5, 4 inches. It's a granddaddy of a vine, and it shoots up. An old long leaf pine we got up here, and that joker is probably 70 feet tall. And we've been back where we're at now for 7 years. And this is the first year that we've seen them put off. But
I wonder if the bees do anything with them. Probably not, right?
I don't know. I ain't never really seen any that I can think of taking.
Never really noticed them.
I've never seen them here before at all. And this is the first year I've seen them. And they're hanging down from a real tall tree. I can get them if I stand in the back of my pickup truck. So I'm going to get me about a 5-gallon bucket of muscadines here real soon. We might have some muscadine honey wine coming up somewhere.
Hey, if you can get some of them low-hanging vines and grab you a good handful of them babies and go to shaking,
They'll all start falling down.
Now, the ones that we've got,
some of them are red and some of them are the green.
Purple looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't bite into them green ones yet.
But
now, the ones that's growing here at the house, they're probably, I don't know, they're probably the half the size of what you would normally see in somebody's yard. Now, I don't know if they're
Evening, guys.
Good evening.
Where we're at.
So, can't stay. I can't stay long tonight either, but I have some guests here with me tonight. So introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm from 4-H.
Okay.
I'm Jenna's mom. I'm Raylan. I am from 4-H Club as well, and we are here making some candles, learning all about rendering down wax, which is new for both of us.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're listening to you guys in the background.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We did not know.
And I'm working on this piece.
It's almost done.
It's
Almost
coming right along. You betcha.
By next year, you'll be able to use it.
Look at how well this is. Look how well that's all turning out. So
It looks
all
really
new
nice.
shafts, all new hardware, all stainless steel. So, but anyways, didn't mean to hijack your show there, Charlie. I just thought we'd pop in, say hi to everybody, and introduce some of these 4-H members that are learning all about bees this year.
It's been a buzzing year.
Should, Jane, and in case you don't know, we busted the myth about Canadian bees not being mean. I think it was Ian.
Oh,
I think Ian broke that mold the other day.
oh yeah,
on one of his
that's
videos.
because he imported those BC bees. He's probably listening right now and he'd be laughing his butt off. But I kept telling him he needs some of this Alberta stock, but I don't know.
Maybe next year.
So, alrighty, have a good evening, everyone.
All right, guys.
All right, we'll see you.
Take care, Jane.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Canada is such a vast country. Our environments are just as varied. Yeah.
Who
Yeah, it's nice to see that he's showing the kids how to render wax and keep bees and all that. That's cool. I wish our 4-H's and what's the other FFA, right? I wish they would get more involved with it.
What do you got to do? Just get with the school boards or something like that to
Yeah,
get
you think,
involved on?
or Department of Ag maybe.
The FFA, there's different chapters around, but it kind of depends on how farm populated you are, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
Right.
And the 4-H, a lot of that is depending on the leadership. It's kind of like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts type thing. It's the club master or that local club leader. I think
what they're interested in, right? It also going to be it's probably going to be what they're
interested in. It's like, I think that's probably where James is at. James is I don't know whether he's an actual 4-H club leader or he's with a certain club I think he's with a certain club in the community and they have an interest in beekeeping. So he said, yes, I will help you, teach you how to do it and actually provide some hives to them. And now my club, we have a young beekeepers grant program where if you're interested and you're in the high school age range, I think you have to be 16 or 15, and it's either 14 or 16 years old. I forget what the minimum age is. Basically like the last, I'll say 10th, 11th, 12th. Yeah. 10th, like around the 10th grade. You write in there why you want to do it, why you want the grant, and why you're interested in bees and things like that. And then we get, sometimes you get 2 or 3, sometimes you get 5 or 6, and we usually give out no more than, I'll say, 5 grants. And that's basically, we'll give you a complete hive setup. And a lot of times our apiary that we do live inspections with the club and going through different types of techniques and whatever, we try to keep that apiary at a certain size, and then we will make nukes for these students and sell them at a below average cost for them. and then to them, and then they also have to take money and buy their their protective gear and their smoker and things like that.
So if Jenna's watching, what do the 4-H's stand for? I know she's listening. They just said they were listening. Let's see what the 4-H's stand for.
Who's Jenna? Where's
She was the lady, the young lady in there with James.
Just
Okay.
Charlie, you're worse than Tim.
So the problem,
Hannah was saying you worse than Tim with names, Charlie.
James just introduced Jenna on the
Okay,
camera.
I'm
it's Jenna and Jenna's mom. You don't remember?
Okay. Nah, mine.
Don't feel bad, brother, because most oftentimes I give people a nickname, then I have her remind me who their actual name is.
It's bad.
Like the widow woman.
The widow woman, yes, sir.
You should see some of the names that's in the contacts list of his phone. It's kinda hard.
I'm worried to see what mine says. I don't even know if I want to know what mine says.
No, yours is simple. Yours is Walker B. Ranch.
Well,
It kept it simple.
See, with everybody that I got in my phone, say on the YouTube, that's how I got you in there. You know,
Whatever your YouTube name is.
Bob
that's what's in
Walker
his phone.
YouTube, or so and so YouTube. That way, I don't get everybody confused, and I have everybody messed up, sending folks the wrong messages, talking about, hey.
All right, Highland Honey. I think I want to try to guess someone. One of them's in it. It's home or health or something like that.
one of them's got to be harvest, right? That's got to be one of them.
No, it's. I don't know. All right, Highland, give us the answers.
I have no
But
idea.
I'm like Tim there. I'll have people's names in there, and I'll say sometimes, a lot of times I can't remember their first name, but let's say I have one guy that has a slabbing mill, for a certain type of cutting of logs or whatever. I'll put in there slabbing mill, and then I'll have his name. I said, all right, that's the guy I'm looking for, what he does.
We on the same track, Charlie. Yes, sir.
Yeah, head, hard, hands, and health.
Okay, so I was wrong. 100%.
I knew it was something about health in there, but other than that, now my question is how does that, how it's got to be a reason why they picked those names, I guess, or things.
We had FFA, but I was not a member of the FFA when I was a kid. I was too interested in girls. That's my club in high school. Girls.
Well, when I was going, they had FFA in high school where I was at, and it was more of a botany class, and stuff like that. I was like, I'm not interested in that. I mean, of course I was farming anyway. And really that's a minority around here anymore as far as farming goes. And there's Jenna. And, I was taking other classes. And then like one of the guys, he turned out to be a landscaper is what he did. He into doing things like that. That's what he took in school.
Speaking of school, what was the class what is a class that we had to go through, or we didn't have to go to, that we had in school that they don't have in schools anymore today?
Well, I'm going to say home economics with them women cooking.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of mine.
They
used to have driver's education. They don't have that in the school anymore.
We had, I had a welding class in junior high, and I had a brick masonry class in high school.
Well, see, we have Votech up here, where that's where I graduated out of. We had masonry, we had welding class. I was in the machine shop. Um, Now, here we go. I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, and my country, and my world. Okay, so that's where all that come from.
See, what we need to do is we need to get Jenna and her 4-H students, and we need to have a live stream about the 4-H program.
Dude, that would
There
be
you
cool.
go.
That really would be cool.
There's you something, Charlie. Yes, sir.
We can, if we can get them rounded up, if we can get James to round them up, and James can be the protector, we'll call him the adult. What do you call them when they go on a field trip? The chaperone.
Chaperone. The biggest thing is well, he's always in his shop, so that's why the internet's a little bit lacking there. But yeah.
And
I mean, that's what we need, though. I mean, all kidding aside on everything, that's the next generation.
Right.
You know, we need to include them youngins in this kind of stuff. Take the knowledge that we know and take the do's and don'ts that we know and kind of pass it along to them. That way they don't have that struggle whenever they try to take and pursue it as just, we'll say,
yeah.
We just say a mom and pop, not the hobbyist, I guess. But whether you want to do a mom and pop part or whether you want to be, say, like Ian and some of them other guys and just go full throttle commercial, you got that advance on everybody else instead of coming in. And I'll use us for example. We didn't know a thing about beekeeping except for we thought put some bees in a box, get honey, and it's all fine and dandy. But whenever you get down to the nuts and bolts of things, there's really you really need to educate yourself on some stuff.
Mr. Mark said they might learn us something.
That's right.
That's how mine started too. Put some bees in a box. They're gonna make you some honey, and then $40,000 in expense later. Here I sit.
Yeah. Oh, my son, he was actually in 4-H, and he what was 4-H or FFA? 4-H, I guess it was. And he wound up going where they have there was a state championship about like backing up hay wagons and stuff like that, and driving tractors, and he wound up going to the nationals on that. I think he won either second or third place, and he was I think he was second, and he was kind of down. I says, I said, Jimmy, I says, look where you went. You weren't at the state, you were at the national, and I said, you were, got a free ride out there, and they seen some huge farms and stuff. That's what he was interested in and stuff. I said, you won in a different way, compared to what most people didn't get to go to do all those things. So, he did very well with that kind of stuff. But,
I tried it in school, but when I asked my mom and daddy, it was real quick. No. And the reason being, because my older brothers and sisters, they went through and they tried and done and all this, and they done it until the fun was over with. And, putting all that time and money and going back and forth and doing, well, I was the baby. And whenever I wanted to do it, the answer was just flat out, no, you ain't doing it. You want to learn how to work in fields and stuff like that? We know plenty of people you can get your tail out there and work in watermelon fields, hay fields, and learn all you want to without running up and down the roads. But I'm 100% all for it. Them youngins getting out there and learning and getting them experience and things.
Well, I mean, Shane makes a point here that all of the all the kids that grow up on farms seem like they're moving off of the farm, right, to go wherever. And well, what's happening around here is evidence that all of the once farmland is now becoming subdivisions. And we're just, unfortunately, we're becoming more and more dependent on Mexican tomatoes and avocados and, you know, fruits and vegetables from other places, which is, you know, it drives the cost up.
Hey, Chris. And that's true. I mean, we have the same thing here. We're one of the small farms that's still left. And the bottom line of it is you can't make a living on it. My son's trying to, but it's more about, you know, he's taken over our hay business where we supply hay to horse girls and stuff. And that's what flows as far as dairy goes. I mean, who wants to be married to a bunch of cows that are 7 days a week, twice a day? Don't matter whether you're sick or whatever, you still got to have them milked every day.
Right.
And that's where, you know, that's where he went out to that farm out, and I'm going to say in Illinois or someplace in there. It's huge farm, and it's more of a corporate farm. But I look and see why it is doing it, why it's successful, and the fact that you're an employee, you can go there and your job's just going to be milking cows. And you milk you 8 hours. They have thousands of cows. So they're milking, I'm probably pretty sure around the clock because of the shifts.
By the time they get done with the first round of cattle, it's time for the second round, right?
Exactly. That's how it works. They got a merry-go-round parlor out there that probably holds, you know, 50 cows at one time. But what I was getting at is you go there as an employee, you work your 8 hours, and all right, I'll see y'all later. I'm going home. If you own your own farm, there is no 8 hours. It's whatever it takes to get the job done that day. And then
dairy's a life sentence.
Yeah, it is. Some people love it.
Well, I like, and this is one of the reasons when I watch Ian's videos, I really admire the fact that they've kept that farm running for generations, and they're finding ways. Like Ian said, you know what? I want to do bees, and they took their farm that was already existed, and they diversified their ability to make money on the farm, right? So I think that's huge. And down here, I don't know that many big farmers here, so I can't really talk to what they do, but I do know that our government will pay them to not produce certain products, right? If you're a corn farmer in some places, they'll pay you not to produce corn because they want to keep the market prices up on it. So why don't you incentivize them to grow instead of not grow something different? Incentivize them to grow something else, you know, that we need.
Yeah. Well, it just
and you can't afford to buy the land to do the farming.
No. It's like milk. Milk prices are so far down, and they talk about how many they get paid dollars per 100 pounds of milk. And if it isn't above 15 or maybe close to $20 a pound, 20 hundreds, it's like a break-even point, and the stuff is like below that. Well, you're losing money. How are you going to continue on losing money?
You see that?
And then you try to get the government to put price supports in, saying there's a floor under here that can't go below this in order for the farmer to be able to make a living at it, and they don't want to pass that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, I see this right here, but I've watched several, kind of went down the rabbit hole. No, not me, I know, but there's this couple, and I think they're in Quebec, up there near Alex somewhere, that they make like $10,000 a month growing microgreens in their basement all year long in Canada, and they deliver them to local restaurants for salads and all kinds of stuff. But they're doing it out of their basement on racks, and they just start the seeds, and the seeds grow up, and when they get tall enough, They take the whole tray to the restaurant. The restaurant cuts them as they need them to go ahead and make them into a dish, you know.
Yeah, but now, like Carl was saying there, the 200-acre farm is, you can't make any more. But why? Why can't you do that? You should be able to do that, but that's because.
Well, when you get a combine, how much is a combine? $500,000?
Easy.
Well, there you go. It's just like, how come you can't get to commercial scale beekeeping? Oh, you need $100,000 to buy the extraction line from Cowan to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Or
it's just like I got a tractor here that's, I think we paid 60-some thousand for it. We thought, and that was a lot of money.
Well, you can't even buy a Ford F-150 for $60,000 now.
That same tractor is like close to $100,000 right now, and I'm like, why? It just, I don't know. But like you say, like a combine. I had a combine here. It had a 10-foot cut on it. At the time we bought that combine, the biggest cut in head was 13 feet. And we thought that was huge. Now they have combines that are cutting 25 feet or more. And it's like, it's either it's like he says, like Carl says, you either get big or get out. And it's like, why do you need, it just, I know a couple of farmers. I'm like, yeah, if they didn't get the governmental support checks, they wouldn't have 3/4 of what they have right now. They're actually being, supported by the government.
When when I was in high school, my parents were looking at this place a little bit west of us in South Carolina, and they were looking to buy a chicken farm, and it had 3 chicken houses on it. And they had the deal where I think it was Purdue would bring the chicks over, and you would feed them for 6 or 8 weeks, and then they would come pick them all back up, and you'd get paid on the weight difference of it. But the fella that was selling the farm actually kind of talked my dad out of it, because he had big pits that were dug on the property that he would, every day they'd have to go and pick up dead chickens and throw them in the pit. And he's like, well, you ain't making no money if half your chickens are dying every time, Now I'm sure that's an extreme case, but it was just like, as much as they wanted for the farm with the chicken houses and everything on it to have to worry about it, it just kind of took him out of the game there. So, and I would have had a nice, like 1976 El Camino that was on there to drive around.
But the problem with those chicken farms now, they come in with a contract and you feed them and everything like that. And then I know some people went in and they got the contract. They put these great big brooder houses in, and 3 years later, we're pulling your contract and you're done and you're broke, because you still owe on the darn house. So anyway, but that's farming. That's why most folks are out of it. That's why they're leaving the, corporate farming.
That's why you go to the grocery store and they don't have very little or no produce in there, unless it's only the ones here. I mean, you go in there and the tomatoes are these little dinky tomatoes that you can't even make a nice mater sandwich out of that.
Yeah. There's a lot of farms around here that are produce farmers in our area, but a lot of your produce comes out of California because it's year round.
You had a mater sandwich before, right, Charlie?
Oh yeah, I like
mayonnaise and tomatoes and some salt and pepper on there. And
you gotta have some cheese on there.
Well, you can call it a vegetarian cheeseburger at that point.
There you go.
Put your little lettuce, little cheese on there. There you go. Well, then it's vegetarian. If you wanted a vegan, you'd have to take the cheese off. Vegan cheeseburger.
Bugman says grow hemp. Yeah, well, I don't know. That kind of was a flop around here. So I know some guys got into that, got in it, and got out of it. Kind of a flop. And all.
something like that.
Well,
on
let's get back.
all
Let's
of
get
the
back to
notice.
talking bees here. Enough on the farm
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I mean, we are running a farm, right? It is a bee
yeah,
farm.
we got bee farms. Us bee farmers can make more money than what the darn produce farmers can.
Probably, I don't know, per acre. I don't even have an acre here. So on 3/4 of an acre, I mean, I wonder if I'm making more per acre than a produce farmer would. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe
I know
if I was in Canada.
a produce farmer actually can, if you're comparing produce versus dairy, produce farmer, and if he's got a, what do you call it? A roadside stand,
Right.
you can do good. Just like selling your honey direct. If you can retail your honey at a good location, you're doing good.
Well, it don't get no better than the back tailgate of my truck in the front of my yard.
They come and ask me where. I said, well, I sell it right here in my office, right here in the building. And I do 1,000 pounds every year. It's good enough for me. And I make enough money to pay for all my bills and expenses for the bees, and plus a little bit extra.
But if you did 2,000 pounds, Charlie, now you could pay for your own expenses.
I doubt that much.
Or shoot, do like a feller. Well, we keep saying across the state line. We ain't too far from Mississippi, but there's a gentleman across the state line over there. He's got, I'm gonna say, at least 1,000 acres that he does just that, different types of produce. I mean, you name from squash to tomatoes to beans to, I mean, you pretty well name it. But it's a you pick it. He don't have a produce stand. You go out there, you take 5-gallon buckets, you pick whatever your pickings are, and you take your bucket up there, and they just charge you per 5-gallon bucket. Now, where it could come in and value on our end as beekeepers, whenever we go over to our little catfish house, we notice on every, I'm going to say about every 60 acre plot that he has out there cultivated for different things, you see at a minimum of 2 pallets of bees out there on each one of them plots that he has. So if you could do if you're good land, or if you got enough land, you could do a 2-for-1 kind of deal. You got your bees to keep everything pollinated, and what they say, if you got your bees out there pollinating, you're going to double the yield versus just having a few little pollinators out there. So you can gain a profit off your produce on top of taking and working your bees. Now, I know with the farming, yeah, it takes a lot of time and energy to do that farming, but also you got a lot of time and energy to put into them bees as well. So I guess you kind of have to weigh a balance on whichever one's going to be whatever's going to be your bread and butter, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
We could do our first ever You Harvest Honey, where they come and they pick their frame and you spin it out, and then whatever they get out of that jar, they pay for out of that frame.
Brad says,
Tim, I tried the pick honey farm. It didn't work.
He said, I tried the pick honey farm.
I know.
That could be hilarious. So you talk about payback. You could set some people up.
Oh yeah.
Even with them.
That's it. Give them some of them Amazon suits.
And then, well, if they get stung, then you charge them for apitherapy.
That's it.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have arthritis, no bee suit for you.
Hey, but sign
now,
here.
Every hour you out here is $50. And in my yard, it's $100 because you're going to get stung twice as much.
That's it.
oh my.
That's GoFundMe beehives.
Oh my God.
I've seen people do like hive sponsorships where you can go to local businesses that are like markets and stuff and let them sponsor it, where they get their name or their advertising on it.
Well, that's what Mr. Ed does. Did you ever watch his things where on this hive is by such and such a family.
And they actually buy the hive, and he just
Well, they buy like they might have let's say one of his bee vacs that he made or whatever. It was sponsored by this family or person.
Well, didn't Brian? Wasn't it Brian from Flower Street said that he goes around and does that for folks too? You know,
Yeah,
if you got a colony.
He manages hives for him, yeah. And then there was a guy up here around Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Nancy was working for a while there. They had a bunch of hives that they were managing for people, and that kind of a thing. And then I have seen them on Facebook or whatever, I think it was, where you can sponsor a hive if you want to help the bees type of thing. Sort of like a GoFundMe, basically, and all that.
We need to find them young folks.
All right, the 4-Hers are going to come in next Friday night.
That's
Right.
There you go. Awesome.
There you go. And we'll get Fox Plus. So we'll get 1,100, 1,200, 2,200 viewers like we had on Tuesday night in there at one time. Be all over. You'll be world famous 4-H club.
That's going to be exciting live, y'all. That's going to be a great deal.
You know what? If we could get Robert Ramonetta, we could have 4-H and FFA on at the same time. He does the FFA club that I sent the swarm lure to and sponsored.
Who does?
Robert Ramonetta. Ramonetta. He's in the chat sometimes. I don't know if he's in there right now though.
I hadn't seen him tonight, but I've seen his name in there before.
Yeah, well, they James can have the 4-Hers and they can tell what they've been doing and in their experience so far. And I know they made several 100 pounds of honey or more, and per hive. Of course, that's normal for where they're at.
Each one of them had their picture taken with the frame of honey. Should have charged them $5 and sold them the photo like they do at the.
You took it away. You took it.
Like they do when you go into Busch Gardens or something. You walk in, you're like just sweating coming in from the car, and there's someone jumps in front of you and takes a picture.
Yeah.
Here's your voucher. Come back and see your picture in a little while.
Yeah.
That's one of the. I think that's one of the most fun times I have is when people come here to buy honey and they want to know more about the bees.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really kind of interested, especially when they're like bearding on the front and there's a ton of bees on the front. You say, see that colony right there? Look at all them bees. And they think it's interesting. Most of them are kind of spooked, but they seem to enjoy it. And I had a guy come up last weekend and buy honey. He's like, where do you make your honey at? And I kind of looked at him funny and I said, right there. You see them boxes? They're all full of bees. And he's like, oh, really? Right there. I'm like, what are you, blind? Ray Charles could have saw them beehives over there.
They don't know.
But it was it's interesting that people they get behind it. And I
just kind of go back to where you were in the beginning, or we were, the interest you had in it. But say before you got your bees, a year or so before you got them.
I was going to Sam's every week. Every weekend I was at Sam's house learning about bees and putting. Well, hey, Sam was funny though. He wouldn't let me. I wasn't touching his bees. He wasn't letting me risk damaging his queens or something, but he might pull out a frame and hand it to me or something like that. But I wasn't taking a hive tool and getting in his boxes or anything for quite a while. And then once I got my first bees and he came over and he saw that I had my stuff set up and everything was going good, then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, hey, check that hive right there or something like that, and then he trusted that I wasn't going to kill his bees. Or maybe he trusted the fact that if I killed his queen, I could go over and get a queen out of my yard and bring it to him or something. I don't know. but but he did start trusting me with it. So,
But you go back to those moments and you think, man, that was the coolest thing. You know, take away the whole beekeeping. We've been doing it for a minute. Then you go back to, like you say, that moment right there. Brother, you thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Just simply somebody pulling that frame out, seeing all them bees on there. Then especially if they pulled a frame out and you seen all that beautiful capped honey sitting on there.
so at
And
what do you think at some point that, well, I'm going to say it does go away. For me, it did go. That excitement to, sometimes it's cool, and sometimes, you know, if you see something different, it's kind of cool. But after a while, it kind of becomes the same thing, hive after hive after hive. Did you feel like you lose that enthusiasm, or does it just change a little bit different?
That's one reason I didn't want any part of trying to make it a business and make something that we make money off of, because then it would become something like that. But for me, it's just fun being in the bees. Like I had one.
I don't know. I think it's, to me, it's especially when you're full with queens and you're trying to get them to go from a virgin to where they're laying, and then and as they start laying, the hive starts expanding. And when you watch that process, and then you keep adding frames, you know, let's say another super or whatever, like my nukes, you put a 5 in there and they get her full, and then you put another 5 on. To me, I'm always fascinated with that. I mean, it's, I've had one guy come here, like I'll say a year ago, you know, I'm out there in the yard and I'm focused on those beehives and I'm digging into the hive. And he said, well, I seen you yesterday. I yelled at you. I said, where? He said, out there at the bee yard, you didn't hear me. And I'm like, I didn't hear nobody. All I was doing is concentrating on them bees.
Zoned in.
And just, you know, or I was in my zen, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
And I find it very fascinating, you know, how I mean, it might be the same from one hive to the next type of thing, but every time you open up a different hive, there's always a surprise in there of something slightly different about it.
Right.
You know, one might be a whole bunch of frames of cat brood. The next one might not have that, but might have a lot of eggs or a lot of larvae along with that, you know, and then you'll get one in there that's either queenless or it's got a queen cell or something like that that you got to take care of or fix.
I think with mine, for me personally, it's not a bee thing, it's a me thing. And I have to constantly learn something new or do something new. And it's not just with beekeeping, it's everything in life, right? It's like if I do the same thing too much, then I get bored with it. It's like, gotta go. So for me, it's important, like this year, to learn how to graft, to try to do something different, you know, to grow the colonies, to, you know, try a battery here or something like that, because that keeps my interest in it. The bees, I mean, let's face it, you can put the bees in just about any kind of box, and if you feed them and they're healthy, they'll live, for the most part, you know. But for me personally, it's about, first of all, the fellowship that we get on these streams, talking to each other and friends, and just learning new things, and that's what keeps me going.
Well, it's just like anything else. If it's something, and we own our beekeeping, if you really love doing it, it's not going to be a job. It's going to be an adventure for the most part every time you go out there to get into them things. But if you get into it and you have the mindset of,
I have to do this.
yeah, it's a job and I'm going to, or you think you're going to just make all this money off of it, and it don't go quite the way you imagine it going, then all that kind of starts disappearing because you're losing interest because, first of all, you think about that almighty dollar. The money ain't coming in. They ain't doing what I want them to. Well, was that your sole purpose to begin with? Is that why you lost interest? Or if you love doing it, then you're going to keep on doing it whether you make $10 or $10,000. It's still going to be an enjoyment to you. And that's where we like to try to keep it. We don't want it to be just thinking about how can I make $1 off these things.
Right.
We enjoy,
as far as like money and bees, for me, it always started as how can I make the bees pay for themselves, right? Where I'm not constantly just putting money out of my day job into buying more boxes and frames and stuff. So that's kind of where I've gotten to this year is that, oh, well, the bees did a good job and all my equipment's full. So now it becomes that decision. Am I going to the next level or am I just selling some nukes off to keep myself where I'm at? You know what I'm saying? And that's like the thing. Is it going to become that work, that 4-letter word that we all love so much, work? And you know, or is it going to turn into, I don't mind working, but is it going to be like a job where now all of a sudden you have to do it constantly, you know? Kind of like the swarm lure. Yeah, I enjoyed making the swarm lure. I enjoyed putting it out there this year. But now I've got companies that carry it. So now that's a job. Now I have to, as long as people keep wanting it, I got to keep making it. Even if I don't want to make it today, I might have to make it today. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things that it can very quickly get to that point to where you're buying equipment because you got the bees and the bees are going to need to be split. And if you want to keep the bees, now you got to split the bees. So now you're buying more equipment, you know, so it just becomes that big. Ask James, he knows. 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 frames, 600 boxes, wax dipping machine, extraction lines. You know, it very quickly can grow if that's the direction you want it to go. But you have to, like for me, I'm not trying to dig in my bank account every week, kind of like James doesn't. It's all about the gadgets. That's right. It's the gadgets. You had me at gadgets.
Yeah, Irwin, I know he's at the Catholic monastery, and then I presume there's parishioners that go there that sponsor those hives and stuff. It's kind of like giving to the church indirectly, I guess you would say.
Well, it helps the church offset the cost of the equipment they need to make the honey that they sell.
Yeah, and the gift
sure.
and the gift shop. But for me, I don't know. I started out with 1 or 2 hives, and I got, I'll get 2 more hives, you know, type of thing. And then I got interested in it, and it's like you want to learn more.
They set that hook, right, Charlie? They set the hook on you.
Yeah, just set you the hook, you know, and it's where the stinger stays in and just keeps you pulling you in, and you get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and then YouTube started coming into it, and then I seen like Michael Palmer, and he talked about nukes and how that was the way of successfully keeping bees, and so I got into the nukes, and then this lady came here. Actually, between her, we were making beehives. It was a slow time for us, and we were making these horizontal hives for her, so for her to sell. And that's talking to her got me into it more, and taking some classes, and so you get into it, and then you'll say, oh, okay. And she was making nukes and selling them. Like, that sounds interesting. So I got into making nukes. That's why I have a lot of nukes, because of her, I guess, really, because I figured I could sell nukes and make some money that way. And I think another thing is that yeah, we've had the family business, but I wanted to kind of start my own little business and see whether I could be successful with it. So the bees kind of, I didn't go out potentially to become a sideline beekeeper, business beekeeper type thing. It just kind of grew into that. And I was experimenting. Can I make money by selling bees? Can I do this? Can I do that? You know, and it's like, and then you have the things like Bob talked about, learning how to graft, you know, and I found that that one aspect of beekeeping is what is the key to self-sustainable beekeeping. If everybody can pretty much make a nuke, but trying to get a
anybody
queen,
can make a queen. Walk away split, right?
Yeah, get the queen to go in there. That's another story.
Well, me and Pastor Larry had a conversation today about grafting, and we were talking about 2-frame nukes. He's got some 2-frame nukes. I got 2-frame nukes, right? So the difference between doing a walk-away split in a 2-frame nuke versus grafting your own queens, right? So obviously, I've got a lot of 2-frame nukes. Well, 30 if that's a lot.
That's what I.
But to do that, I would have to tear down 3 full deep colonies, or I could use a variety of my colonies, make 1 starter finisher, and graft 30 queens. And then once they've hatched in the incubator and I've got a virgin, maybe I only have 10. Well, then I can make 10 splits with the virgin, right? They've got a queen at that point, as compared to doing walkaways where you're just putting a frame over there and hoping hoping they make a queen, hoping it comes back. Takes you a month. You broke down 3 10-frame deep colonies to make 30 queens, right? So it's much simpler to go ahead and just graft those queens, and you know exactly how many queens you have, virgin queens, and exactly how many nukes you need to make, and it saves your resources.
Well, the biggest problem around here is that there were always these, I guess you call them naysayers, it's hard to see. That's why don't try grafting, because it's, you can't see. Or don't try grafting because of this problem or that problem and all these other things. And I went down there and did that grafting class in 2019. And it's like, is this all there is to it? And nobody would want to show you either. No, it isn't like, well, come on over. I'm going to graft at 5 o'clock in the evening after work. It was always, well, we're going to graft at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm working. These are retiree guys or whatever. And, anyway, like I said, once I learned that, it was another facet of beekeeping that makes it even more fun. And really, queen rearing is like, it's like a game between you and the bees. Is that you go in there and you graft up, let's say 30 cups. Well, the bees are going to tell you how well you did. If you get 28 out of 30 cups, accepted, I call that a win on my part. But if you get half or less than that, and then they won more or less, and you lost and all, but that it's sort of a game between you and the bees.
Right. That is right. Or 1 frame out of 30 hives, but it's 3 10-frame colonies, even if they came out of 30 different colonies. It's the same amount of resources. Whoop, there we go.
We're back.
So, I mean, there's tons of ways to do it, but I'm glad. If it wasn't for these streams, I met James at Hive Life, right? But no, actually, I met him on a stream a week before Hive Life. And then,
I seen his videos, and I was asking about that hive lifter, and then that's how we connected in that way. And then I got in, after Hive Life, the first year, it was last year, I guess it was, you and Lee were having a show, and you had Castle Hives on there, and I was trying to chat with him while he was on your live stream, and then you invited me on, and I figured out how to do that, and then it's been history ever since. But it's the biggest thing is like, you know, the community of beekeepers that we have. I mean, here we know Tim and Hannah, and they're way down in the deep south, and here I'm up mid Atlantic, north of Bob, and then you got James all the way out in the western end of Canada. You got like Shane here. He's up in Canada there around Manitoba area. Brad.
All over the place. We got,
you know, everybody's from everywhere, you know.
Kyle from New Zealand.
You got Rhonda down here. I'm not sure where she's from.
Sebastian in the UK.
Huh?
Sebastian over in the UK. Kyle in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I mean, all over the place. We got Paul from Louisiana. So I'm looking at hail hives right there. But I mean, that's the thing. The Bob, they will never miss it, and it helps keep the queen laying. Yep. If you got drawn comb to put back in there, otherwise they have to build the comb out too. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. But either way, if 30 frames is 3 10-frame deep colonies. Actually, it's probably more because it's 30 frames of brood, right?
Yeah, Rhonda, she's down in Florida.
In Florida. So I mean, it's just the grafting part, though. It was learning that this year was probably.
Well, you got Alex. He's up in.
We said Alex in
Quebec.
Canada.
He's in Quebec.
And the I mean,
he's looking. I seen his video today. He transferred all his 5-frame nukes into the 10-frame boxes. And I'm an international star. I don't know about that.
It's not as it's I think a bigger idea in our head than it is actually grafting. It's all about the steps of getting. No, it's 30 nukes. Okay, it's a half full, half empty thing. And our Filipino friends, right? That's true. So, and we had somebody.
Well,
that was
it's like setting up a cell builder and stuff like that. I've had issues with that still today, but after watching, I seen Bob Benny saying, and then there was that guy that I've mentioned where he was showing his results on the way he set it up, and then I think probably James had showed you how to shake off the bees in the front of the hive and let them walk in, and that way they're all nurse bees and stuff like that. That's what I got to do next year.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned we learned it together this year was the easiest way to make those splits. Shake all the bees down, bring the brood up in a box over the queen excluder, and just let the bees come up and get on the frames. And then you just pull the frames out.
Yeah, that's the easiest way as far as you don't have to worry about looking for the queen.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that. And some people said, well, come back the next day. I've come back within a half 30 minutes, and they're full. Those bees are covered that brood completely. And it's like, shoot, you're ready to pull that box off and put it on its own stand.
And that way you have the appropriate amount of bees on the frames and good to go. What time you running off tonight, Charlie?
I'm just about ready to shut it down here. I got get up tomorrow morning and go with it. Was Miss Hannah, she not feeling good, Tim?
Yeah, she jumped up to fix her, I guess, a little old snack, try to get a little more on her.
Try to get something down.
Vanilla milkshake.
Yeah, get the vanilla shake.
She stopped and got her she got a hankering for some kind of slushy deal earlier. She wanted to try. And
cheeseburger slushy, I told you.
No, what was that thing you got?
Was that a polar slushy from the 7-Eleven?
Yeah, that's exactly where that baby come from. Yes, sir. She got about half of it down. Then she's like, I kind of regret doing that a little bit.
Yeah, it was cold.
I guess just being too cold, all that slushy from that ice. But hey, them rascals is good. Don't get me wrong now.
There you go. Mark there, he's a heck of a grafter. I'll tell you, he's come on here with some live video feed of some of his cell builders, and he's got what, 40 grafts at least, Bob?
He said he grafted 1,000 queens this year.
Man. But now I would say that that's his main thing is queen rearing and all.
Well, I
Actually,
think with his schedule, right? Because he can do it over the week when he's off. And most of the time, it probably works out.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably does. Because, I mean, it's, I know for me, I normally like to graft on a Wednesday, and that way they're ready to be out of there on a Monday and that kind of stuff. And put them in an incubator.
That man done found his knack in the beekeeping world or business, however you want to put it. But he, like y'all say,
Is that Mark? You mean Mark?
Yeah, Mark Miller.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody can, he's found something that he really enjoys and he's good at it, or he's developed the
skills,
the skill, honed that skill and stuff like that. And, I mean, that's what I find with myself is that I like to develop a procedure or program on doing certain aspects of beekeeping. I find something that works and it works year after year. It's like, okay, I know to do this, this, and this, and it accomplishes whatever I'm trying to do, type of thing. And, which, that way it's not work. It's like, okay, all I have to do is do these things and the outcome is, let's say I'm going to be able to sell 10 nukes. Like that was one of the things that I finally figured out a system in order to split the hives, I have 5/5. I want to sell 5 frames. I want to sell with a queen. And I used to put them in cardboard boxes and then they would overheat and there was issues there. And now I found out, put a queen excluder in there, find the queen, put her upstairs, put 3 frames of brood along with some food and pollen in that top box. So the day the person who's going to come and buy that hive, I can go out there 15 minutes ahead of time and pull that box off. I know the queen's in there because she's been isolated, and she can stay in there for quite a while because the bees can move up and down and keep the hive cool and keep everybody cool, if it's in hot weather. And then I can, like say, take that top box off, put it in a cardboard box. I usually like to spot the queen anyway. And it works out so much better and all. So it works out real good. So, well, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and shut the program down tonight. And everybody remember that if everything goes well, I'll put out the announcement that James McNally and the 4-Hers are going to be on next Friday's live chat. And they will explain, how they got into it probably. And, what their experiences have been probably here in the last 6 months. I guess it's probably been only 6 months at the most. And then the outcomes of what they've done. I know they've made quite a bit of honey. Of course, up there, you can do that. And then, of course, they've got a great teacher there, which is James. So,
if he can teach me how to graft, he can teach anybody how to graft.
Ain't that true?
It is the truth. I got to foul it up about 3 or 4 times before I get it going.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the chat here.
All right, y'all. We enjoyed it.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Have a
See
good
you.
one.
All right.